and welcome back to the Reapers. Today we're in the mission editor for DCS World and we're looking at creating naval group units and giving them orders, making them do stuff, making them travel to an area, making them shoot at this, making them shoot at that, and setting them up, setting their general parameters. Now, the mission editor is quite big, there's a lot to go through, so we'll go through as much as we can as quickly as possible. So, the button we need is this chap here, which is going to be add or modify ship group. Now, notice the word at the end, group. All of the active units, and when I say active units, they're units that can do stuff. So whether they're aeroplanes, helicopters, ships, tanks, SAM sites, whatever, they're active if they can do stuff, if they can fire, as opposed to a static unit here, which is just purely an object. A static unit can't do anything. Now, back to this. Every thing that's active, every type of active unit is a group. DCS World works with groups. It never works with single units when it comes to active units. So that's the first thing to notice. So we can never have a ship kind of on its own, a unit on its own. It always has to be a group. Now, that's not to say that a group can't have one unit in. You could have a group and it could have one unit in, and that way you could have a unit on its own, but it's still a group. And it's important to understand the difference between a group and a single unit before we get started. And like I said, it's going to apply to all of the active units in DCS World. So let's get started. So let's create a ship group. So just to give us a task, why don't we have a small ship group here with, let's just say 2 or 3 ships in, and they're going to travel towards the coast and they're going to shoot something on here with their guns and missiles. That'd be a cool thing to do, right? And then to shake it up a bit, why don't we have another ship group over here of a different coalition that's going to travel inwards and shoot the other ship group. That's going to cause all sorts of dynamics and all types of things we have to set up that should be able to show everything off. So first of all, let's create the, what we're going to call the goody ship group. So we're going to start it here. So click on ship group, left click, and there it is. We've started a group. So first of all, group name, goody group. That's not how you spell goody. Group. Yeah. And we're just going to go through everything here. A lot of it I don't know. There's no real documentation for the mission editor, so I just don't know some stuff. Condition. Name in there. Good condition. I don't know what that actually does. Here is the condition in percentage. I believe that's the actual physical condition of the unit. So if I put it at 80%, then the health bar, if you like, of the ships in this group are at 80%, as I understand it. Which country do you want? You always have a blue coalition and a red coalition. The coalition, which country is setting which coalition, is determined at the very beginning of the making of the mission, where you set the coalitions. And I've got a video on this, but why don't we just make them Russian for whatever reason. Okay, next, how many units do you want in this group? Is it a single unit group or is it a multiple unit group? Well, let's just do 2 because here we can, and whoops, wrong one, up there to add it to 2. And you can cycle between the 2 guys with this here, and you can add or take away more with that there, take away or add. So we've got 2. So whoops, that was a mistake, ignore that. So the first one, we want to go back to number 1 to edit. This is unit 1 of goody group. I want a ship with a big gun, and I don't know anything about ships, so this is the Grisha at the moment, the default, and I want to see what it looks like. I'm going to click on this here, ammo, pew, and we get our ship, and I can drag it around. I want to see if it's got a big gun. Kind of, but it's a bit puny. I want something bigger. Big gun, question mark? No. Big gun? Big gun! Big 4-inch gun. That's what we like. The whatever that says, okay? And now I'm going to go back to here, and now I'm going to go to unit 2, and I want a different type of ship with a big gun. No, how about that? No. Moskva. Jeez, look at that. Not seen this ship before. That is a little beastie. That's got 2 big guns at the front. So there we go. So to summarise, we've got goody group, and it's got 2 ships. It's got a that and a that. Okay, that's how far we've got so far. Now each ship's going to want a name. It's got a default name. This is the unit name. Remember, that's the group. This is the unit. And they come with default names, but why don't we name them? So this is going to be Cap, and ship 2 is going to be Stahl, Captain Stahl. And Stahl is going to have excellent skill level, because these are AI control. We can't control them by well, actually we can control them by humans, but they're going to be AI controlled in this. And Cap, unfortunately, he's good, but he's not excellent, so I'm going to be good. No idea what that actually controls the skill level, but it obviously controls something. Next, I want to position them. I've just put a rough position for the time being, so I want to just check the distance from here to there. It's 6 miles. So I want Cap to be there, and I want Stahl to be there. Okay, very good. Next, I want the heading, and I want to set the heading, and what we can do, as long as this little guy down here is turned on, we can actually go and look at the heading there. I'm not really happy with that heading, so I'm going to move it there. Whoops, that's me there. There. Stahl is this about the same heading, and that's fine. Next, some options. Do we want this group hidden on the map? There, I've hidden it on the map. Okay, now if we get rid of that and we want to get them back, remember we can always use the unit list here, and it comes up with Cap and Stahl, and we can always double click on hidden to turn us back on. And now we're turned back on. Visible before start, so I'll tell you what, I'll come back to that one. Uncontrollable, if you don't want to allow humans to control this. Okay, and that affects the entire group. Turn that off. Late activation. Without late activation, then these guys are just here from the start of the mission, and that's it. With late activation, they are not here at the start of the mission. They are not in existence until they are activated, and that is part of the logic trigger system, which we're going to go into another day. So we're not going to talk about that now. And visible before start. I believe that means they are visible before they are late activated, but can't actually do anything. Okay. Next is the radio frequency, and we're going to do a video all about radio frequency soon, but the important thing is to make it a realistic radio frequency that aircraft will be able to tune into. So if it's in an alpha mic modulation, then you want it VHF 120 to 140, something like that, or UHF 225 to 399, just to make sure that the aircraft are compatible with that. So Cap wants to be 133. Stahl wants to be in the UHF of 250, and they're both going to be alpha mic modulation. Okay, that's that. Next, we come into these options. So we've got these tabs that you can do. This is the waypoint 1, or the route. This is the ammo. This is the triggered actions, summary, and suppliers. Right, so let's go through waypoints first of all, or the route. At the moment there's no route. It has waypoint 0, which is where it is, and that's it. So they won't do anything. So we're going to add a waypoint. Now when we add a waypoint, we're adding a waypoint for the group, not the ships. We can't add the waypoint for the individual units. We can only add it for the group, and the entire group will follow this route. So I want to go to add basic waypoint here, and I want them to move there. Kapow. Now, DP, I don't actually know what that means, but that is the last waypoint. I don't know what it stands for, but it means the last waypoint. So we've now got waypoint 0, which is the SP, the start point, and the DP, which is waypoint 1, which is the end point of the route. And that's the route. You could have a whole chain of them, but that's all I want. And you have to tell them how fast they're going to go. They default to a speed of 11 knots. Cap, that's not fast enough. I want 30 knots there, and at DP I want 30 knots. And once they get to, actually it's a bit silly, there's 12 knots. And once they get to their DP, their waypoint 1, then they'll just stop because they've got no further orders. Okay. Out of interest, if you wanted to find the maximum speed, tell them the maximum speed, just type 99 in, and it will go to the maximum speed of the unit. Okay, that's that. If you want to name each waypoint, so the waypoint 0, waypoint 1, you could put a name in there. Don't know why you ever would, but you could probably, so you could save it as a template. But I've never done that. I've never seen the point. My missions just aren't complicated to need that. Right, next is the timings for each waypoint. So this is waypoint 0, and it starts at 8 o'clock in the morning, which is where my mission is starting. I can tell that because I can go here. Where is it? Oh, I've lost it. There. No, weather. That's when my mission starts. If I want to start it at 9 o'clock, I'll change that to there. I'll go back to my ship unit, and you can see it now starts at 9 o'clock. If I go to waypoint 1, it gets to waypoint 1. This group will get to waypoint 1 at 9 o'clock, 9:20, 39. So it takes 20 minutes to get there because they're big-ass, slow ships. You could work this the other way around. We can ask them to travel at a speed that gets them to a waypoint at a certain time. If that's the case, we're going to turn off the GS. We're going to turn on fixed time. And I want them to arrive at 9:30. 30 and 39 seconds. And then it will calculate the speed for me. So that's if I want them to arrive at a certain time to, you know, fill in with the storyline of the mission. Then I'm going to show that I can add another waypoint. I could go add and add another waypoint, or I could edit an existing waypoint. I could go edit. I could click on waypoint 1 there, or waypoint 0 there, or let's go back to 1 there, and I can go in and edit them anytime I want. Or I could also delete them. So I've got waypoint 1 selected, DP. I could press delete there if I wanted to delete that, but I'm not going to. That's simple waypoints. Now we're going to go to advanced waypoints, or actions as they're called. So we're going to have a list of them here, and they are going to relate to the waypoint that they're on. So if they are toggleable type options, like I want to set a certain toggleable parameter for the ships, then I'm going to go to waypoint 0 here, the start, and I'm going to enforce these parameters, and then they will last for all of the other waypoints. So let's do a for instance. So we're back to waypoint 0 here, and this is very important. If you're going to add advanced waypoints, and you probably will want to, because it makes them do things like shoot stuff and defend and stuff like that, make sure you've got the relevant waypoint selected, otherwise you can mess it up quite a lot. So we've gone back to waypoint 0. We're going to add advanced actions. 3 options: perform task, start en route task, perform command, set option. So we're going to start with the perform task first. What can it do? It can fire at a point or attack a group. So fire at a point would mean fire at a geographical point. Attack a group would be to attack another group, whether it's ships or aircraft or panzers or whatever, you know. That's that. So start en route task. There are no start en route tasks for this particular type of unit. Perform command. We could run script. That's to do with external scripting, and script far way above my intelligence, so we're not going to cover that. Invisible. We could make this unit invisible from waypoint 1 onwards. Sorry, waypoint 0 onwards. That does not make it physically invisible. What it means is that it cannot be detected by hostile coalition units. So they physically can't detect it. That's what it means. You will still be able to see it if you're a human and, you know, whatnot. Immortal, it makes it immortal, simple as that. And again, it's a toggleable, so it makes it immortal from a certain point. You could then do another action, immortal, and turn it off, turn the immortal off. So you can make it immortal just for one waypoint stretch, if you like. Okay? So that's that. Next is set options. ROE, or alarm state. So that ROE, for instance, we can change whether it's weapons free, return fire, or hold. So what the AI is going to do under threat. And it's toggleable as well. You can change it at any waypoint. And the alarm state, whether it's auto, green, or red. I don't actually know what they mean, but you can get a rough idea, but you know, whether they're in red or green state. And that's it. Now, bear in mind that these options will change a bit depending on the different type of ship that's in your group. So if it's a group with just an aircraft carrier in, you will get a whole bunch more of options, like adding TACAN, ILS, and all kinds of other stuff, you know. So you need to have a good search through these. All I want to do is I want the ship to get to waypoint 1, then I want it to fire at a point, okay, or this group. So we're going to go first of all to, I'm going to get rid of this advanced option that we were doing. We're going to get to waypoint, select waypoint 1 there, we're going to add there, going to go perform task, we're going to go to fire at, oh, I forgot the conditions. Right. Okay, so I've got to go for the conditions. So fire at a point. So we're firing at a point here, and we'll set it up. But first of all, these actions that we're talking about giving it can be conditional. So what if I wanted to fire at a point if something, 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 okay? So what if I wanted to fire a point? I could make it conditional by clicking on conditional there. So fire at this point, do this action if the time is more than a certain time. Or a user flag is a certain value. That's for logic programming, which we'll look at later in this series. Or if there's a probability. So if there's a probability of more than 70% that you will do this order. Or external scripting. Okay, so there's that. I never really use that, but that is, you know, that's a thing. That's a conditional thing, okay? Right, now let's carry on and do this order. We're doing firing at a point, and let's find some pretty buildings to blow up. Where's the Burj Khalifa, anyone? Sod it. We'll just bomb this town. I don't never like this town right there. Firing at that point there. And whenever you do something like this, you get extra options. So a zone radius. So do you want it to fire exactly on that point or in a radius of fire? And I want a radius of fire of 500 feet. So all the bullets are going to go or try and go in that area there. What type of weapon are we going to use? I want them to use cannons. If you go on auto, then it'll use whatever it wants to. Missiles, cannons, whatever. Rounds expended. I could tell them to spend a certain amount of rounds. I want them to expend 99 rounds. Make sure we completely demolish that. And that is 99 rounds between the two. So that's 45 rounds per ship. Out of interest as well, conditional. We can also stop conditional as well for a duration of a certain amount of time. Again, something I've never actually seen the need to use, but it's there. Okay, so that is waypoints and advanced waypoint actions. And that's everything I wanted that guide to do. Next, let's have a look at ammo. For this ship, there's nothing really relevant. You get to look at a pretty picture of the ship, which is nice. And you could change the colour scheme, but in this case we can't. If we wanted to go to Stahl, then we could do him there. And if we could add another colour scheme, then we would. Otherwise, there's nothing of any relevance there, but there could be relevance with certain types of ships. Next, we're going to go to triggered actions. Can't work out what this is. This is a bit beyond me, but we can trigger certain things to happen again, as far as I'm aware. So we can add, we can trigger another shooting at another place if a certain trigger is tripped. But that's a bit beyond me, so I won't be able to go through that one. Summary of the route. When we start the route, the length of the route that it's going to take, how long it's going to take to do it, how long we're covering, how the average speed is, what the range is, in case you needed that. And suppliers, this is relatively new in DCS World missions. You can have suppliers, certain amounts of supplies at bases. Certain units can give supplies to bases, but this, I haven't been through this yet myself, so just acknowledge that that's there. That's all I can do at the moment. Okay, so that's gone through Cap and Charles, and we're going to do that. Now we're going to have some baddies, okay? We're going to have another ship. It's going to be there. It's going to be a single unit group. It's going to be called Baddie Group, and it's going to be USAF aggressors. It's going to be a destroyer. That sounds like a nasty one. What's it got on it? Has it got a gun? Yeah, it's got a gun. Okay, it's going to be called Bad Man. He's good skill. I'm going to skip over most of it because I just don't need a lot of it. I'm going to add a waypoint. He's going to drive to this point there, and then, which gets him to his waypoint slightly ahead of us, about 3 minutes ahead of us. So we're going to change that. We're going to go to fixed time. We're going to make him arrive 5 mics after us. So we do 5 mics of bombing, and then he's going to come and attack us. Okay, and at waypoint 1, not at waypoint 0, at waypoint 1, he's then going to be ordered to attack us. It's going to be a non-conditional attack. He's going to attack group, and the group he's going to attack is the goody group. The weapon he's going to use is auto. Let's just see what he comes up with. Okay, and I've got other options that I could have here, but which direction we want him to attack from and stuff like that. But to be honest, I just don't care. So that's that, and that's pretty much it. So nothing else I really want to go with. Like I said, there are other options with certain amounts of ships, certain types of ships, but we'll be here all day if we go through all of them. So I've gone over the basics, what we have to do. Next, we're going to run the mission through. So Cap and Charles are going to move to there. We're going to shoot some goodies, shoot some civilians. Then Bad Man is going to come in 5 minutes later and start shooting us, and then maybe a whole war will erupt. All right, before we go, I've just had a sudden thought. They're probably just going to start shooting each other on the first leg of their mission. So what I need to do, and this is a good example of why we need to do stuff like this, is on the first leg of their journey, on zero, we need to turn off their freedom of fire. So for the bad guy, waypoint 0, add set options, ROE. He has to hold fire on that first leg, and that will change when he starts shooting. Afterwards, on waypoint 1 there, at which point we are going to give him permission to fire weapons free, and we can move that up in priority. It does the orders in logical order here, so it'll do that one weapon free first, then it'll attack. If you didn't turn weapon free on, then I don't think the attack would work. Okay, so I'll do the same with my boys, and then we'll go run it. Right, we're in now. That is the baddie, that's Cap, that's Stahl. So they're going to take about an hour and a half, half an hour to get to their point now, so I'm going to speed up time with left control and Z. We're now 20 times speed. Let's try 30 times speed. Let's try 50 times speed. About 100 times speed. 200 times speed. They're going to get to their point at some point. Don't want to miss their firing. Right, are they going to fire? Yeah, nice. Right. Where's the bullets landing? Bullets, where are you? Oh, I can't find where the bullets are landing. Oh, there we go. Ah, shit. That's 99 rounds, completely demolished that. Now, that's great. Now we're going to see the bad guy come in and start shooting us, hopefully. So that happens at 9:30, I think. So let's speed on a bit. Oh, is he going to fire? He's not going to do it, I don't think. I don't know. For some reason he's not firing at these guys for whatever reason, and this is kind of why it takes so long to make these DCS missions. You have to you put the logic in, and then you have to go and try it, then you have to go back to the mission editor, see what you did wrong, then come back in, try it again, still doesn't work, go back to the mission editor, try it again. But that's just DCS mission editing, everyone has the same problem. Right, that's it, nothing to add. Go and have some fun and make some cool big ship wars and stuff like that. Hope that helps, and see you later.